What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. My name is Luke Huntsberger, and today I'm going to be talking about the college football playoff. When this was first introduced as an idea, it was really exciting because we were honestly expecting something a little bit different because it had never been done before in college football. It had a March Madness type vibe to it where more teams would have a chance to win a championship, and while that is partially true, it has not actually delivered on its promises. So guys, in this video, I'm going to be talking about what's wrong with the college football playoff, and I'm going to be talking about how I would fix it. And I'm a believer in an 8-team playoff, so I'll give you guys the criteria for who would make that and how that would work later on in the video. But first, let's get into the problems right now. This is the Big Four: Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Oklahoma. And just a disclaimer, I am actually an Alabama fan, and I love winning national championships. But I also love seeing upsets, guys, and we haven't had a chance to see that in the college football playoff because Alabama has made 5 appearances, Clemson has made 5 appearances, Ohio State has 3, and Oklahoma has 4. Of the 24 spots awarded, these teams account for 17 of them, which is 70% of all teams that have ever made the playoff. These teams make up 70% of that. And they've won 5 out of 6 titles, which is 83.3%. There hasn't been any change with anything in college football. This has not added more unpredictability to it. As a matter of fact, it's made it more subjective and more predictable because odds are one of these 4 teams is going to be in the playoff at the end of the year. And you know what? Oklahoma hasn't even won a game in the playoff yet, which is really, really frustrating that they keep putting them in year after year. So guys, I believe in an 8-team playoff. I believe that we need to expand it and give more teams a chance because even if the result is the same, at least we'll get to see more teams and we'll get the occasional upsets for a team maybe advancing to the semifinals. So this is my proposal, guys. I propose an 8-team playoff. And the first thing is the highest ranked Power 5 team from each conference automatically qualifies. And this is going to eliminate the problems of if we have like a fluky conference champion. Like a couple years ago when Pitt and Northwestern played in their conference championship games with 4 and 5 losses respectively, they would not actually have a shot at making the playoff because they're not the highest ranked team. And most of the time, the highest ranked team is going to end up being the conference champion. But if it's not, the odds are that will be taken care of with the next criteria, and that is the 2 highest ranked teams remaining will receive at-large bids. And all the seeding for the playoff is actually going to be based on their rankings. So whether you have an automatic bid or you're an at-large team, if the at-large team has a higher ranking, then they will be seeded higher. That's how it's going to work. The next thing is the highest ranked group of 5 team receives the final playoff spot. And this is the controversial thing. This is what I don't know if you guys are going to be on board with, but you know what? This is what I want to see. I want to see a group of 5 team just have a chance. Because a couple years ago with UCF, say what you will, they were a very good football team, and I believe that they deserved a chance. Because when you have a team like Oklahoma who appears 4 times and doesn't win a single game, I think that UCF has earned at least a shot to show whether they belong or not, because Oklahoma clearly does not. And the final thing is each opening round game would be a bowl game. So the 6 New Year's 6 bowl games would be on a rotating schedule. 4 of them would be quarterfinals every single year. And let me get into a little bit more detail on why the group of 5 teams should be given a chance. And here is the records of all the group of 5 teams who have played Power 5 teams in a major bowl game since the beginning of the BCS era, and this includes the New Year's 6 under the playoff as well. And one thing I want to mention first, Boise State beat TCU in the 2010 Fiesta Bowl in a bowl game that was all group of 5. That does not count to this because this is simply group of 5 versus Power 5. And if you look at this, overall, they went 8-5 against Power 5 teams, and the average rank of the opponent from the Power 5 was number 8 in the country. So they weren't playing nobodies, and they racked up a winning record against these teams. I think that this data right here shows, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that a group of 5 team at least deserves a chance. All right, guys, let's look at some examples of how this playoff system would end up playing out if it were to actually be used. And the first one that we're going to look at is 2017. And this is the year that Penn State was infamously left out despite being the Big Ten champion. They were number 5 in the country. Ohio State was ranked number 3, and they got into the playoff instead of Penn State, who I feel like was definitely deserving. They did go on to lose in the Rose Bowl to USC, but it wasn't a blowout. It was a very close game that Penn State honestly gave away in the 4th quarter. But Penn State would not be left out under my system because more likely than not, if you are a conference champion, if you are a quality conference champion, I should say, you will be ranked high enough that you will get one of the at-large spots if you're not the highest ranked team in your conference, which Penn State is. They were ranked number 5, so they get in as the 5 spot. And the only questionable thing about this playoff bracket is that Western Michigan is the group of 5 team. And I believe that a team from the MAC will not be the same quality necessarily as a team, say, from the American or maybe even the Mountain West, who are the two strongest Group of 5 conferences, easily, in my opinion. And I do think that Western Michigan was a good team. They actually held their own against Wisconsin in the Cotton Bowl, only losing by a touchdown in that game. But, you know, to go up against a team like Alabama, it'll definitely be tougher for them. But this is what the bracket would look like in 2017, the first year that we really had a huge issue with what the playoff did and how they selected their teams, because it's so subjective. On to 2019. And 2019, this is one of the more controversial years that would maybe happen under my playoff, and I'm including it just to show you a slight flaw with my system, because it's not going to be perfect, but I think that it's definitely a step in the right direction and a step up from the college football playoff. So this is what it would look like, and Washington is actually the team that kind of messes this up a little bit, because they were ranked number 9 in the country, but they would get in as the highest ranked Pac-12 team. UCF gets the automatic bid for the Group of 5 spot, and they were ranked number 8, but Michigan, who was number 7 in the country, does not get in, because they were not the highest ranked team in their conference, and they were lower than the other two at-large teams. The at-large teams being Georgia and Notre Dame. And Ohio State was the highest ranked team in the Big Ten, so that leaves Michigan on the outside looking in. And I had to throw in last year's just to see what it would look like. And this is what the bracket would end up being. LSU would play Memphis in a Tiger Bowl, which we could actually have 2 Tiger Bowls in this playoff between LSU and Memphis first round. And if Clemson gets to the championship game, they would be facing off against the LSU Tigers in what happened actually in the championship game this past year. But the most interesting thing to me is that actually if Oregon beats Clemson and Ohio State beats Baylor, we would have a rematch in the semifinals of the first college football playoff national championship. And this is what I like, guys. This is what I like about the 8-team system that I'm proposing, is you're going to get matchups that you wouldn't ordinarily get, okay? You're going to get some teams playing that you don't usually see. And like, remember back to when I talked about the Big Four, these are the 4 teams that account for most of the playoff appearances, 17 out of 24. Ridiculous in my opinion. And I believe that this system would give other teams a fair chance, and we would get some upsets and, like I said, some matchups that you wouldn't ordinarily see, and create some storylines that you don't normally get. So that's why I'm a huge fan of the 8-team system. I'm a huge fan of the system that I've devised. I think that it is the most fair to everybody, and you guys can let me know down in the comments what you think. Alright guys, so this is my proposal for the college football playoff. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this possible solution to the problem. Let me know maybe how you would change it, or what you would change about my specific scenario here. But guys, I really had fun making this video, and there's actually another video like this that's going to be coming out where I realign college football and give all the Power 5 conferences 16 teams to kind of fix maybe the whole mantra against the Group of 5 narrative. So guys, stay tuned for that video, and as always, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.